Knowledge of Common Sense radio show. And let's put it to you this way. There's a reason why, if you see Michael R. Slawinski, he's got that ace bandage and he's got that brace. He hurt his shoulder after last week's match. The professor is running around with a sling on after what happened last week. There's a reason why he's not at this particular program.
I heard he's been cutting hair with one arm.
You know something? As a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up because, yesterday at the Good for the Hood event that was held at Superfly Barbershop 14064 Euclid, thanks to HJS, another longtime member of this program, not only did we feed the community and do other things, but the professor was in pain cutting hair with just one arm. And it was not a pretty sight. It wasn't a pretty sight. But as I pass this along, I want to know what's going on, Brother Ted.
Well, that's why he asked me for some aspirins in, huh?
Yeah, that's what I asked.
We have some aspirins, yeah. I think Double D gave him an aspirin.
Yes.
But I just want to put in a plug for the African American Museum. Remember now, the museum belongs to you. We're in the process of renovation. They're working on the roof now. It was in pretty bad shape, so he had to tear it all off and replace it. But you can make donations at Faith Community United Credit Union at 3550 East 93rd. Deposit an account number 24280. Any more information you need, you could call me, Ted, at 216-577-3628. Take note of the and. They got great stamina, and all of them work together. So we could work together to rebuild this African American Museum. It's at 1765 Crawford Road. Thank you.
I just want to add a little something. A couple years ago at the Cleveland Arts Museum, there was a big showing of the mummies and stuff from Egypt.
Right.
You got all the West African artifacts in museums all over Europe. So I think this is very key when we have our own in our own museum, not in a foreign country's museum, something that was stolen that people are making millions of dollars of. Let's try and support.
I feel you and can appreciate that. And as we move ahead, I'm looking at something, and I'm always excited to be able to make announcements and things like that. But I guess our guest in here figured I might probably beat her to the, announcement thing. So she came in here to talk about what's going on, what's upcoming for Euclid, Ohio. Cassandra McDonald, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, and I'm excited because I'm checking out the particular flyer coming up and what's going on. I'm looking at October the 4th. What's happening? What's going on?
Well, October the 4th, I am setting out to do something that I think not only is beneficial to the city of Cleveland, the city of Euclid, and other surrounding municipalities. I am forming the new Cuyahoga County NAACP branch.
And in saying that, why Euclid, Ohio?
Well, here's the thing. It started out with just Euclid, Ohio. But when I really start thinking about the overreaching issues that we have in different municipalities, I said, why are we just limiting this branch to one city? So when I thought about it and really saw the need, I said, you know what, we may station in Euclid, but we need to branch out and form a Cuyahoga County branch.
All right. Well, on that note, what we're going to do is take our break and find out why. The importance of branching out. We have a couple of phone callers we'll be getting back to, but we're going to go in and take that top of the 6 o'clock hour break. As we start off our second hour, I want to reintroduce our guest, Cassandra McDonald, and I have to ask to start things off, why did you feel the time is now? Because usually I just have heard of like NAACP, Akron, Cleveland chapter. What caused you to want to, take it towards a county feel or a county look?
All I had to do was really look at our condition right now. And our condition as a community, as a society, tells me that we're not stable when it comes to our living, our liberties, the foundation of equality. We're not stable, and I don't think we have been for a very long time. I think anyone who can fairly assess what it is that we're seeing can agree with me that there needs to be an out-of-the-box thinking in order to start addressing these social ills and work towards something to see how we can eradicate it. And for me, the NAACP was one of them, again, because of their longevity and what they should still be standing for.
And when you say what they should still be standing for, I've got to go negative before I go to the phone lines and check the text messages, but I have to say that there are some people who would say the NAACP should have done this, Birth of a Nation, almost 100 years ago. When that particular film came out, they were boots on the ground when that movie about the Klan came out, and they were shutting things down, forefront of the civil rights movement along with SCLC, and then recently it hasn't been where a lot of people, there have been a lot of complaints that's come up. What would you like to see done, or where do you see things heading so that that won't be a case?
Okay. So this is how I look at that. If you look at how it was back then and how it is now, we didn't have a lot of the type of jobs that we have now as far as our professions. We didn't have the material items that we have now back then. So culturally, economically, educationally, those things we were truly, truly, truly fighting for because we didn't have. So you fast forward and we have them, and we begin to get a little more complacent because we have it, and if not complacent, then we get scared about losing it. So I only want to go this far with the issue, and then I want to back off. So I think that we can't have a false reality that we're safe and things are okay, because honestly, they're not.
Right.
You know something, I can appreciate that. I'm going to, at least before I even go to the phone lines, ask anybody from our round table, is there anything they'd like to add on before we go to our next phone caller?
Yeah, about doing it, having one Cuyahoga County NAACP, that's going regional. Yeah, and that would bring all the rest of them together, the ones in the different cities, like the suburbs, Shaker, Cleveland, Euclid, Bedford, all of that, yeah. So that's a good idea.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we need to stretch out a little more because we're just confining ourselves. We're bigger than we think we are.
I don't have anything to say.
And I'd be surprised if my brother Sam, is there anything you'd like to add on?
What do you see the benefit and, let's say, the cons of this, or not? Let's not say cons too early. Let's say obstacles.
Okay. So let's do the obstacles first.
Okay.
Okay.
Optimistic.
All right.
Like that.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think the obstacle would be people understanding that this is not an attack on what we have currently. This is just to advance what we have. Okay, because it takes more than one idea. If it's 1,000 issues, why are we stuck with 100 ways to solve them when there's 1,000 things to deal with? And I think the other obstacle would be to make it cohesive in getting other groups to join without them fearing that they will lose their own identity, coming in collaboratively with the NAACP. That's not the mission, but we need the power. So I hope that's what people start looking at. As far as the benefits, I think that because, again, issues pertaining to racism, education, health disparities, educational disparities, housing disparities, mental health, and addictions. Those are not just Cleveland. Those are not just West Park. They're everywhere. So if you can have a branch of the NAACP with a longer arm, we can deal with it more on a larger scale.
Okay, and I have a dumb question. What is the NAACP supposed to be doing? I don't think we've seen them enough. Let's just, pretend we don't know. And you're starting fresh anyway. What are they supposed to be doing?
So the NAACP are advocates. They're definitely advocates. They're grassroots organizers. They're faith-based individuals who collaborate to get things done. They're community people. They're individuals. They're organizations. And again, they're supposed to work with things related to education, civil rights, social and human injustices, criminal judicial reform, everything that is not constitutionally bound by the Constitution, and things that take away from your right to the pursuit of happiness, life, and liberty. Those are the things that we are supposed to be fighting for. And civil rights, I think, right now has moved from, it has been founded on inequality by African Americans and what's happening with them. But if you look at it, if we keep putting inequality on the face of just an African American, nobody will understand the gravity of how large a civil rights issue is. I listened to the show earlier about a young man who was having issues with DACA and being an immigrant. Well, that is a civil rights issue, and those are things that we need to be working on. It's not just one color.
Okay. Now, what is there a boundary or limit to what the NAACP, as far as to the extent of what they can do to help someone?
Yeah, well, when you have the national chapter, so any other chapter that falls under them has to abide by the bylaws. And there are going to be some legal issues because you have to prove certain things through the national chapter. So there are going to be certain issues that they may say step back from right now or go ahead and do. It has a lot to do with resources. It could be where they are currently in the court system. There's a lot of variables attached to that. But even still, at the tail of that, there should be some involvement. I don't care. It doesn't have to always be huge, but there should be some involvement, even if it's just visibility in supporting that person or organization that's having the problem.
Okay, now everybody's on social media, but you kind of, to me, you want to take an innovative approach. And protesting is trending. Yes, it's helpful. Everybody's protesting. Can you give me 2 or 3 examples of an innovative approach you would like to take?
Okay. Well, definitely we can't take protesting away. It's the way that we do it, first of all. And I think a lot of times, too, we open our mouths too quickly, depending on what it is that we're approaching. That's part of strategy. A lot of things used to be done in the church behind doors late at night. Nobody really knew what you were doing. You just kind of, it was a sneak attack.
Right.
And I think that we need to start organizing it that way as well. I think we should also look at the people that we have around us. Who's the mouth? Who's the person that thinks? Who's the person that can relate to people, and start putting these people in their key positions or spots in order to make that particular area stronger than what it is. I also think that we should look at organizing as sort of like a campaign. You're out there, you're talking to people, you're discovering what the issues are. You have your surveys, you have your rallies, you have this. You need to do that. And also, we need to stay focused on the issue. We're all over the place. When you take an issue, you focus on that issue. You don't take your foot off that neck. You stay there until something is done. There's a thing that I actually want to do called Termination Tuesday, and I'll let you know what that is a little later. It has to do with Euclid. So those are some of the ideas that I have.
Okay, so what we're going to do is definitely go to the phone lines and see who's on. How you doing out there? You're on right now.
I'd like to ask your guest, now due to the NAACP, you said you're going to represent the suburbs. Now, are you going into this political situation as far as Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, as far as people have to represent through what background they're in as far as politics? Because you said the suburbs, right?
Yes, the suburbs will be one of them. And again, as far as territory-wise, that's going to come into play, as the chapter forms. But to give you a little bit of background about myself, I am a politician, but I consider myself a civil rights activist before anything. That's what I do. Before I ran for any seat, I was always out here advocating for things that I saw took issue with. When it comes to political awareness, I have held different things around the community related to voting, related to understanding Democratic parties, encouraging more women to run for office, supporting candidates, and so forth. So I'm very heavily involved in that area as well.
But you know what? I think you're going to have a problem because, suburbs represent money and really race. Why I'm saying this is because, see, living in Cleveland, to participate, you usually had to be a member to get things together as far as under that organization. So if you go in the suburbs, you would have to know what culture really live in that area to really keep the program going 100% in the suburbs. Now, in the inner city, it's way different because they have a certain quota of blacks that really buy into that organization with membership. I'll listen to you, okay?
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's kind of an assumption because I've lived in the suburbs, worked in the suburbs, as well as lived in the inner city and worked in the inner city. And I am very, very connected to my community, whether inner city or suburban. I research issues before I even approach them. I knock on people's doors. I do a lot of that. So I don't isolate myself from one part of the county to another. Like I said before, I'm all over. I've been in West Park, North Olmsted, all the way to East Cleveland and Cleveland. And I think that some of the people here can attest to that. I'm very much spread out.
And that's excellent. We're going back to the phone lines, and you are on with our guest, Cassandra McDonald. How are you doing?
Good evening. This is Art McCord's Heavenly Brother Cole. Hello to all your special guests that you have there, and hello to Mother Judge Jean Mother Judge Jean I forget her name, but anyway, hello to her in my heart. And today, I would like to start this prayer off by inviting my wonderful granddaughter with me on prayer. Her name is Peyton Dior Green. And at this moment, we shall get started. Hello to you also, Heavenly Brother Porter.
Amen. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Glory, glory, glory. Hallelujah. Praise. Lean on our daily bread. When you are not strong, and the word of God will help you carry on.
Do not be afraid. I will help you. I am your God. I will strengthen you. Praise our spirit and truth. Daily bread, word of God will help you. I will uphold you. Keep God's promises close to your heart, and the truth will set you free. For the Lord Jesus Christ will guide you. He will uphold you if you carry on in his name. Then do not be afraid to go forward. Do not become weary in doing good. I am with you. I will strengthen you. Do not be afraid.
Hallelujah, Jesus. Hallelujah, Jesus. Hallelujah. Jesus is alive and well. Nothing is more powerful than the blood of Jesus.
Forever and evermore. He's alive. And through Jesus Christ, I shall say to everyone to just have the children in your heart, all the children around the world. We need to gather them up and come a part of their life so that they can understand what is going on today and not be lost in the world. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
Amen. And thank you all. That's
Yes,
beautiful.
Yes.
And as we go to our next person who's on the line, how you doing out there?
Al, Sam, I don't know who else is out other than Cassandra's in the studio with you, so just addressing the names that I know. Cassandra. Oh, by the way, Al and Sam, I sure wish y'all would have given me some room to explain what I was talking about as far as food deserts and the cost of buying healthy food some other time, though. Cassandra, is there a difference in the funding that you receive in order to staff and the human resources that you receive as a result of establishing a county-wide NAACP chapter versus just focusing on Euclid?
Yes, there is, because I did look into the funding, as you stated, because a lot of the times that you are limited with what you do because of the funding that an organization is allotted. So I did look into that.
And what is it?
And one second. And the one thing that I would like to do, and again, I'm not going to disclose a lot of information because you're not the only one listening, you know, if you understand what I'm saying, because it's still information. There are other things as far as 501c4s. There are other things related to an organization that I work directly with, also one that I have founded myself. And actually there's 4 other organizations that are willing to contribute, and there's different ways to bring in money other than being solely reliant on the NAACP finances.
In regard to you hypothetically maintaining your chapter in Euclid primarily, versus putting it into making it a county-wide chapter, there's an issue of being able to serve the population that's closest to you best, as opposed to spreading the resources out. And I'm not just talking about money; I'm talking about human resources, because the largest barrier that the NAACP has had historically is active membership. Even when they were strong, they needed more. They're strong now. But even when they were at their strongest, they needed more people. And with a population such as Euclid, Ohio, if your intention is to serve them well through the functions of the NAACP, it seems to me, as an outsider, so I'm not saying I'm right, okay, that it'd be better that you focus your chapter title under the Euclid branch and serve them, as you may need to work your way out later on by people who live in Euclid that have issues outside of Euclid.
Okay, so first of all, there's no Euclid chapter.
I'm saying if you're going to establish one.
Right, but you said work it out of the Euclid chapter. So here's the thing, because
I'm saying establish a Euclid chapter versus establish a county chapter.
But what I'm right, I get what you're saying.
Thank you.
What I get what you're saying.
Answer.
Thank you. Is that I get where you're coming from, but that's the limitation that I don't have and don't set for myself or what we can do as a people to be located in one municipality. There is too much work to be done to keep saying we're going to be in one municipality. Now, I totally get what you're saying, but again, if this is a concern, like it may be to a lot of other people, this is when I'll ask you, brother, to come on in and help me spread it out. Because it seems like you have the ingenuity and you have the intellect to do so. True. So this is an open invitation for you to come on out and help me get it started. So we can branch out.
I'm a member of the Atlanta and the Washington, D.C. chapter, and that's enough for me.
Okay.
Are you calling from Atlanta?
No, I'm calling from Cleveland.
All right, how come you ain't in Cleveland? How come you ain't
I'm in Cleveland.
Just because Art not here, we still going to get you, Ty.
Well, you want to hear the response or not?
Go ahead, sir.
I'm in Cleveland because this is where I decided to establish the 3 businesses that I wanted to set up, so I have time to call y'all because I had that kind of time on the weekends and listen to you. I had that kind of times here in Cleveland. But most of my primary interests in this world are primarily focused in the Atlanta metro area and the Washington, D.C. metro area.
That's beautiful, and that's the thing.
That was addressed to them, Cassandra. I know where you were coming from. They were just trying to get a cheap shot in.
Listen. But let me finish saying what I'm saying as well. That's beautiful because that's your focus, like you said, with the regional and so forth. So that's where we do have a connection because my focus is Cuyahoga County based.
Right.
So it's pretty much the same thing. But thank you. I appreciate you calling in.
And thank you once again, Todd.
You tried to get me, didn't y'all? I'll talk to y'all later.
No, we could go for some donations for the museum you here in Cleveland. It belongs to you too.
And with that being said, I tell you what, we will take our break. When we come back, I will want to know more about this Termination Tuesday that's coming up. And then anybody else in this room, such as Danielle, that I have not picked at, I will probably pick at shortly. So with that being said, you'll be right back on Art McCoy's University College of Common Sense radio show. And welcome back once again to the Art McCoy University College of Common Sense radio show. And I want to go back to, before this song played, the other song, you could say the Donald Trump song, Liking That Rap song, that came from St. John, Missouri. Want to thank the person for always tuning in. And before we go back to even the phone line, where can we find the College of Common Sense? Is it online? And if so, how can people follow us?
Yes, you can follow us on Twitter at Arts Common Sense, or you can also follow us on Facebook at Art McCoy's University of Common Sense.
I want to definitely thank our co-producer for making sure everything runs right. And that Walk Like a Man, Talk Like a Man, CCR2, Cleveland Conscious Rap. I'm going to take the time to go to the phone line and see who's on. How you doing out there?
Hello?
Yes, how you doing? You hear us?
This is the Art McCoy Show?
It's the Art McCoy Show.
Well, I'm calling because I live in Euclid, Ohio now. And I think it's an excellent idea to form the NAACP.
Thank you so much. What I'm going to do is let our studio guest at least answer that part. And I'm going to ask also, how can people, not only there in Euclid, but other suburbs and other regions, how can they become a part and become a member? Because that's what it sounds like she's, actually saying.
Yes. So the Euclid chapter, again, is forming, and it really started with, again, being a upfront and a part of the issues with the police brutality there and the alleged illegal traffic stops. And I say alleged because we're still waiting on information to come in. What I've done so far is ordered what's called a leads audit on the police officers. And what that does is a data system that keeps the statistical information on the individuals that were stopped, the race, the age, time, and different things like that. Because when we delve into a situation, we want to know exactly what it is that we're dealing with in order to confront it. There's 3 different reports to pull, but that's what we're in the process of. I am definitely looking for people to help grow this movement, and again, because it's going to branch out a lot more. That's my vision, and I'm sure that it will come to pass. So I'm looking for people to, whether you want to make phone calls, because we're going to do phone banking, if you want to do phone calls, if you want to just put literature in the doors, if you want to speak about some of the issues that are happening in Euclid so people can really hear it from the residents in Euclid, what they've experienced or what they know. There's so many different levels of support that is needed. And I'm having, again, a meeting on October 4th. It's going to be at the South Euclid Lyndhurst Library. We're having that meeting is from 5:30 until 7:30. There's going to be membership forms available. There is a membership fee. Right now, the amounts are conflicting. It's either $25 or $30, but that's the expectations. And it's just going to be a very good informational session. So
thank you so much. And I hope that helped answer some of your questions, caller.
Yes, it does.
No problem. We appreciate you for listening in to the program. And we're going to take another phone caller. You're on live at the University of Common Sense Radio Show.
Hello.
Yes.
I can't hear you. It seemed like you kind of almost disconnected me. Well, maybe you can hear me. I can't hear you. But anyway, the nature of my call in reference to Euclid forming their own NAACP or whatever. I would like to hear from your guest as to why she feels that the one that we already have doesn't serve her or serve her community. And this is why we as a people can't get anything done because we can't work with each other. I think that there are strength in numbers, and so I think that she should recruit people to join this one, and also the one that's already existing, and also kind of put them on the spot. If she encounter problems in Euclid, then she should call the NAACP in to do something. If she has not called them in to aid and assist them in the endeavors and problems that they are encountering there, then I could embrace her starting one of herself. So that's what I would like to know. I'd like to hear her response to that, why she cannot embrace the one that's already and encourage people to attend that one and kind of demand, if a member, you can kind of demand that they assist you in your problem that you're encountering.
Thank you very much. I'm interested in that answer myself. So
yeah, so I'm going to, because here we go again, and it's just human nature to assume that I did not reach out. It's human nature to assume that I have not collaborated with them before. It's human nature to assume that Michael Nelson and I were not together that night that it happened when the young man was beat, because we were.
That is true.
Okay. So that's number one. Number two, this is not the first encounter that I've had with NAACP. Back in roughly 2007, I went to them personally with an issue. Went back and forth, to the point where I got no assistance, and Dennis Kucinich, I had to call on him in Lakewood to assist me with something. This is just not something from my eyes. These are the opinions of many people, both members and non-members of the NAACP, that is saying that it is time for us to move forward and progress. Again, if I'm not sure, Mr. Mays, if you were privy to the initial starting of this program, but I said, and I want to make it very, very clear, this has nothing to do with how I'm looking at the president as a person and what he's doing with the organization. This has nothing to do with me saying that the NAACP Cleveland chapter is inept. It has nothing to do with me saying that it's just Euclid and I'm not willing to work with other organizations, because I think my work speaks for itself. But what I am saying is this. This is a vision that I have. This is a movement that I believe is necessary. Everyone is not going to agree, but at the same token, I'm not going to back up until I feel that what we need as a people, as a society, as individuals, until those things are addressed, I'm going to be out here making a lot of decisions that people may not relate to, but know that it's in the best interest for everybody overall.
Let me say something before we take this next caller, just to give another perspective. I think what's going on is, as I mentioned before, social media. We're so reactive to something that's already happening. What she's doing is being proactive before something happens. And I think when you're proactive, historically it's shown that, criticism or people don't understand, because we're used to it's already happening on the TV. It's already happening on social media. It's already going on. So what's this? I don't, people are confused or you don't understand. So anyone else that calls in, I just, they should take that in consideration.
I can appreciate that as well. And before we do go to a phone caller, I am going to ask, because I am interested exactly is this Termination Tuesday?
Okay, so Termination Tuesday began with an idea that when I did some research about a former boycott that the NAACP had, and it was something Mondays they called it. But what was happening is there was an issue, and the individual that they were having the issue with did not want to conform. They didn't want to comply. They didn't want to work with them. And every Monday they showed up at that place until they got tired and said, let's sit down and come to the table. So this is part of the thing that we're missing in today's organized protests and so forth, is we don't stick to it. We're almost like flash mobbing. We show up in droves and then we disappear. And it's time that we stay consistent. So one of the ideas with Termination Tuesday, because I was at a couple of the Euclid City Town meetings, and I spoke and I said that the mayor does have the ability and the power to make an executive decision when it comes to the termination or laying off of a police officer. And at this point, when we have the officer who came from Mentor and exhibited and did the same behavior that he did there and brought it to Euclid, this is where the mayor needs to say, wait a minute, if we can't control this, then I need to step up. And that's the thing. We have to get people to step up. Take yourself out of it for a second and realize this is not just about a person getting beat. This is a person. This is a person, plain and simple, and it's not right. So I told her it would be either him or her, and I meant that. So Termination Tuesday is every Tuesday is him or you. Is him or you, to the point that if there's a strong enough resident, you can do a recall. We did it in East Cleveland. If it's not working for you, then we need to step up to the plate.
I hear you, and it's time to get this person on the phone line. We appreciate you for calling in. What's on your mind? Hello? You're on.
Hello?
Yes.
My name is William Clarence Marshall, and I'd like to say to the sister, hey, more power to her. Hey, if the shoe doesn't fit, hey, don't wear it. Get your own pair of shoes. Right. Should there be a Euclid NAACP? Yes. There should definitely be one. More power to her, and anything else that will help the situation. That's all I've got to say. Bravo to you.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
And with that being said, so that we can get everything right, I'm going to ask you to at least let the people know once again what this chapter is, to who you are representing, and how people can join and be a part of this movement.
Okay. Again, I'm Cassandra McDonalds, and I am starting the NAACP Cuyahoga County chapter, but the branch will be based and located in Euclid. October 4th, I am having an informational session. There will be guest speakers. The community and other members are welcome to come out and voice their opinion. And I hope that we can do so respectfully, because it's not about understanding what each other has to say, but trying to, we need to kind of broaden our thoughts and think of things in the alternative. So it's October 4th. It's going to be held at the South Euclid Lyndhurst Library Branch at 1867 South Green Road. It will be from 5:30 p.m. until 7:30 p.m. Membership opportunities are available at that time as well. So please come out and support. I do have a separate organization on the side, which is the Lawyers Foundation, which I started in 2009. So I've been out here, and I just really want you to know I'm appreciative of any help that I can get, anything, because I cannot do this by myself, but I know that we can do it together. So thank you.